Hey guys, just back from the beach after a cracking sunset. It was one of those ones that went on for over an hour after the sun had actually dropped below the horizon. It wasn't a super shouty, mega vibrant sunset, but it was just one of those really nice, colourful, balanced ones. And I haven't looked at the photos at all yet. I've imported them all off the SD card onto the computer, but I haven't fired up Lightroom. Obviously, I know the kind of thing I'm going to find in there. It's not going to be a complete mystery, but I haven't really seen how they turned out. I try and resist doing the old chimping with the old camera, when you're constantly checking your photos to see how they've turned out. Sometimes I check them, because you need to see if the picture's in focus or you've blown out the highlights or whatever. But for the most part, I like the surprise. So anyway, I'm just going to give you a very quick bit of background about why I went out for sunset tonight. I've got the weather map on the computer here, and I'm going to talk a little bit about that, and then we'll get into Lightroom and talk about the photographs I took. Okay guys, so here is the weather map. I've wound back the clock to 5 p.m, which is what sunset is here in East Coast Australia at the moment. I'm located around here on the map. All the little predictive apps were saying that it was going to be a very mediocre sunset, right? But I looked out the window at the sky and I saw that there was a fair bit of high cloud in the sky. High cloud is always good. It's what you want for a really colourful, beautiful, vibrant sunset. So I hopped at a sunrise as well, incidentally. But I hopped onto windy.com and I had a look at what the charts were saying. So here is the weather map in question. As I say, I've dialed back. It's a very cool site, windy.com. You should use it if you don't. And you can use it for predictive stuff. So I could wind it forward to sunrise tomorrow, for instance, to see that there's not worth setting the alarm. But I can also put it back to sunset today. So this is what it looked like. And my eyes went whoop when I opened this up. So the sun is setting over in the west, obviously. Okay, so I'm looking in this direction. And what you want is exactly this kind of cloud. Okay, so I've got high cloud selected here. If I click over to medium, we can see that there wasn't much, and most importantly at all, very little low cloud obstructing my line of sight to the sunset. So this is the good stuff. This is the quality stuff. This high cloud is what is going to be backlit by the sun as it sets in this direction. But more importantly than that, there is a gap at distance where the sun can do the backlighting. If it's solid, you'll still get color, but you don't get the really nice colors. You need this gap for the sun to creep through and get underneath it and backlight it. So this is the good stuff. This was why I ignored all the stupid little predictive apps. I don't know why I keep them on my phone. They're not very good at all. And I went with my gut instinct and headed out to the beach. So what we'll do now is we'll fire up Lightroom and add all the photos and see how they came out. If you're new to my little import Lightroom processing walkthroughs, and you'll notice there's 3 of everything, and that's because, as I've previously said, I shoot pretty much everything bracketed. But I just like having the flexibility, the possibility that I know that I can combine them if I want to. Hard drive space is cheap. You got nothing to lose really. So that being said, because they're all bracketed, we need to stick them into stacks. So I'm going to auto stack by capture time with 2 seconds. It's saying we've got 84 stacks. Let's set it going. That'll clear things up quite nicely. I don't know about you, but whenever I go out for a shoot, I always like to take a shot just so I've got something in the bag. Get those first shots out of the way. And I never kind of expect too much from them, but it's just nice to get something sorted. Anyway, but this is a little rocky peninsula called Blackhead, which I decided to visit for today's sunset. I'm not going to do much processing on this video. I'm just going to sort of more talk about what went on and what my thought process was. All right. So this was walking down onto the location and taken a few shots. So I shot with my 10mm f8, and I got down nice and low because I love the way this grass looks. So the sun's setting behind the escarpment, and what my plan of attack was, what I've done in the past when I've come to this occasion, is go down onto this rock shelf here. So this was the first shot down on the rocks, and you can see the high cloud up here that I was talking about, and it's already starting to color up. What time was this shot? So that was taken at 22, and sunset was, so this is about 10 minutes before sunset, and we've already got some really nice color starting to appear in the sky. So at this kind of point, what I'm doing is I'm kind of feeling out what I'm going to do. I'm working out a plan of attack. And I think I'm going to start here, and then I'll go down there and try that, and maybe come up here. And so I just work out a little plan of attack. And so the first shots are almost, you know, just kind of dialing in my settings and that kind of stuff. I never worry too much about what sort of quality they're going to be. And so here, what happened was I saw this really nice foreground rock with all these awesome textures and stuff, and this kind of alley, this kind of cut through the rocks here that the rocks are breaking on. And what I was thinking when I set up the tripod was I'd get some nice flow on the edge of this, because the waves were coming over here, and we've got this breaking, and we've got the breaking waves here, and they were also in fact coming up all the way over here and even over the side. So I was sat there waiting for a nice swell to come in. Also like to kind of test out various different compositions. I'm not a big fan of the rule of thirds, you know, where everything has to be on these lines and stuff. Sometimes my shots end up that way. I think it's a very overrated rule, and it means everybody's photos look the bloody same with everything on these stupid bloody lines. I've never really understood the whole point of the rule of thirds. I'm not a fan of it. So I just test it, you know. I try different compositions out. So with this one, I thought, okay, let's see what's happening in the sky. Maybe that's the point of interest for this shot, and we can combine it with a little bit of sneaky wave action on the rocks, and that's actually come out okay. Let's move on to the next one. Similar deal, same sort of composition, again trying to get some movement in these waves. So how long is that exposure? That's 1/10 of a second, which is that's the kind of bare minimum really for any movement in waves. Any quicker than that, and it you don't really get any sense of movement. So it needs to be between 1/10 and 1/3 of a second, in my experience. So you can see we've got a little bit of nice movement here. As I was shooting there, this naval helicopter came flying overhead. Let's jump up the exposure so you can see it. Did I get that shot? Nah, it's kind of moving. Maybe the underexposed has got it a bit crisper. Let's crank it up. Yeah, nice and crisp on that one. So anyway, this helicopter came flying over, and I sort of reframed slightly just to get it in the shot. So I think I've got in the next shot, I've got it actually over here with the setting sun. I actually know a couple of the guys that fly these helicopters. This is from the naval base in Nowra over here to the south, and they fly exercises all the time in this area, pretty low level flights. And it's one of the reasons why there is restricted airspace here for people that fly drones. It's very difficult to fly a drone here because the Navy spend a lot of time training naval aviators to fly these helicopters in this area. It's very active. But I'm thinking in my head as I'm looking at that what I'll probably do is a straight masking job in Photoshop. So I'll take the underexposed shot, bring up the shadows and the exposure on that by a couple of stops, so I get a nicely exposed sky, and then use one of the others for the ground and sort of balance it all out. So that's my thought process for that. Here's the other one. That one's quite nice too, with that helicopter disappearing off. Blurry on that one, but oh, look at that. That's pretty nice, isn't it? Let's bring the shadows up. So I'm at, what were there, 2 stops, 3 stops? I can probably get everything from that single frame. Isn't the Fujifilm X-T4 brilliant? Look at that. I've got like 3 stops of dynamic range there lurking in the image, and a little bit of noise, not too much. Just some honest patina, but that'll be quite a nice shot. I'm going to definitely develop that one. Shame there wasn't more going on here, but I did have the camera on a tripod, and all the other frames subsequent to this will be from the same composition, so I could theoretically use one of those. We'll see. I don't tend to like doing that. There's kind of mixed composites, but we might make an exception because that's such a nice shot of that helicopter. I found this rock shelf where the waves were breaking, and we got some nice, really nice wave action there. Look at that. So that is a quarter of a second. See, that's what I'm saying. It's between a tenth and about a third. It's right on the money. This is where you get this beautiful kind of breaking waves. I think any more than that, it can go to sort of half a second sometimes. I think any more than that, you kind of just get that kind of misty look. You want movement, but you want detail as well. One thing to remember, incidentally, if you're shooting long exposures on a tripod, is to turn off your stabilization, because the camera will search for movement that isn't there. Oh, look at this. And I think of this one, yeah, so that's 0.6 of a second. So because I'm bracketing, I'm only ever counting on my normal exposure to be right with the movement of the waves. So obviously when you're bracketed for an overexposed shot, it's going to do a slightly longer exposure. So we're 0.6 of a second here, and this is what I'm saying. This is a bit too much. It's okay because you can pull back some of the detail in there, but this is the beautiful shot, isn't it? Look at that. Straighten that up. Let's bring these shadows up and see what we've got here. I wouldn't normally do global edits like this. I'd normally mask it, but I'm just doing this for you guys to see what we've got here. This is a really, I love this. Look at the zap and energy we've got in here. Look at this breaking wave here. Well, that's a winner. I'm going to hit the pick for that one, and you're at 4 stars straight away. So what I'll do when I've done all this walkthrough with you guys is I'll go through and process them, and I'll stick my picks in a little slideshow when we get to the end. But that is lovely. I always say, if you're not getting wet, you're not close enough. I think that's a bastardization of someone else's very famous war photographer's quote. Can't remember the full quote. I'll dig it out and I'll stick it up on screen. What I would do with this in post-processing, incidentally, is drop the blacks, bring the whites right up, and then a bit of dehaze and some clarity to get that contrast going. And even with those very small little adjustments to this raw file, you know, already looks way better. But I think I'd do a little bit more processing on that one, but that's really nice. I'm going to flag that stack with a pick that I... Incidentally, I should point out that for a lot of these images, once I've got my picks, I run them through Pure Raw because it has the best demosaicing RAW engine in the business and pulls out all sorts of interesting data from the RAW file. Ooh, that's quite cheeky, isn't it? Like that one. Got a lot going on there. That's really good. So we've got the wave, the water breaking on the rock here. We've got the wave advancing here. The timing of this is really nice. It's just about to hit me. So sky was getting pretty awesome by this stage. This shot is, even though it's the normal exposure, it's underexposed. That sky, look at it, beautiful. I looked over my shoulder. Always look over your shoulder, and I could see these beautiful pinks in the sky. Let's blow this up slightly. Oh, that's nice. I really like the pastel tones in that. Flag that as a pick. And I like what I've done here. So notice this is not rule of thirds. This is like quarters. So don't just automatically do that rule of thirds. Test out compositions. Right, so then we went back to the main action. And as you can see, the sky's now getting very sexy. So at this point, I've gone down the rock shelf for about sort of 50 meters or so to a spot where I know you're going to get really cool breaking wave action. This is a little channel that just collects the swell. You know, you learn through experience. I've shot many times in this location and I knew what to expect in all the different ones. I also know that this is a really bloody dangerous little spot. Not particularly dangerous for me. It's not a vicious swell that's going to sweep me out to sea, but it's dangerous to my equipment. And I have actually been swamped by waves here and lost equipment, so you need to be careful. But it's a really cool location. Look at that wave breaking in front of the sky there. Let's bring the shadows up, bring up the exposure. Oh, that's quite nice, isn't it? Gonna flag a pick on that one. The color metering, color temperature metering is way off on this, so the sensor's kind of reading and it's kind of purple, so I do some color correction on this. I mean, even just taking this, if we just take the magenta out of this, it'll already look a lot better. Oh, look at that. Nice. Yep, that's a good one. Flag it. So we've got the wave coming in here that's sort of just faced up. It's about to break. We've got the previous waves come in. It's broken on these rocks. There's water coming off there. The waves approaching me. So we've got this dynamic stuff going on down here. And we've got this contrast with this beautiful sky. And geez, I've got so much noise on my dirt on my sensor. There's so many of these. I'm going to have to edit this down a lot. Ooh, suits you, sir. Look at that one. Wow. That's a pick. Quite like that. Let's flag it. Nope, nope. Boring, boring. So the cameras often struggle, don't they, with the metering and getting the right warmth of the colour, particularly after it's getting dark, and it tends to veer out too far into the old magentas. Quick story about this. So by this time it was fading quite a bit, and also I knew I had kind of run out of time. I had to get away because I need to get down to the shops before they shut. Such is the photographer's life. And so I moved back up onto the headland to take some shots. And this is my lens hood you can see in here, which I hadn't put on properly. So it's kind of cutting into the image. So I noticed that, and not until there you go. Noticed what was going on and fixed that up. So this would be a candidate for a tone mapping in LR Infuse, which I really like. I was quite excited about seeing how this came out, and it's everything I was hoping for. We've got this beautiful kind of translucent glassy water because it's a 4.5 second exposure, and this was the underexposed shot in a bracket, which was 1.2 seconds, and you can see the stars are coming out. That's how late it is. About an hour after the sunset. All that'll do is for this video, guys. You were seeing them for the first time, same as me. That was my first look at these photos after they came off the card. Don't know about you, I always find that quite exciting, particularly when there's been a bit of nice colour in the sky and you know you've got a few keepers in there. So I'm going to go off and process those, but you guys don't have to wait because you're going to get to see them right about now. Anyway, enjoy the slideshow, guys, and I'll see you same bat time, same bat channel. Ta-ta, guys.